Деда, ты пропал.
Hello, guys, and I'm really glad to see you all here on our Spiral Ecosystem Use number 8. And just as usual, we will provide you the latest updates about our plans, share some Roadrunners news, and not only, because we have our Dark Lord, creator of Roadrunner, acting like he is an Apple company, not just a developer. And the last but not the least will be Anton, who will share the latest updates about our PHP stack. So first, Dmitry, would you mind sharing all our plans, hidden secrets, and everything that is related to organizational stuff?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Yeah, guys, many of our Spiral products' cool features are so cool that we just can't keep quiet about them. And that's why we've been spending more and more time promoting our products. And that's exactly what we'll be focusing on in the near future. I'd like to share with you some of our next plans. First, we plan to add more video tutorials here on this YouTube channel. If you remember, we have already released a bunch of videos about how to work with Roadrunner and Temporal. Soon there will be a few new videos about cases of using the Spiral framework and its components. By the way, Valery is going to start a new series of personal video streams about Roadrunner soon, so it will be interesting. Yeah, and second, we're also strengthening our presence on Twitter. Here we tell you daily about interesting use cases and helpful tips, and of course, make announcements. We promise a lot of useful information on our official Twitter account. So be sure our Twitter account, Spiral PHP. So, guys, subscribe to us now, and we're waiting for you for your likes, comments, and retweets. And one more thing, our forum on the Discourse platform is almost ready. Soon we'll give you an announcement and invite everyone, community member, to participate in the discussion. It will be our second official channel in which we will provide support for our products. And let me remind you that the main support channel is our official Discord server. You can get answers there to any of your questions or just participate in discussions. Our guys, I hope, will be happy to give a piece of advice to you or discuss problems and solutions. And in addition, we will soon launch a Telegram channel with similar content and mentioned above. Please expect an announcement soon. And of course, we will intensify the work to improve our documents or documentation. We're already thinking about redesigning sites with the documentation. They should become more convenient and modern. We will add a section with an event feed where it will be convenient to find out about the latest updates. And we will also make a page with our contributors, with you guys, those community members who help make our products better. Thank you again, guys. So I'm sure, I hope that our history of the development of the Spiral is becoming even more intense and interesting. Stay tuned for our updates. Thank you. I'm passing the floor to other guys.
Thanks for updates, Dmitry. Your plans are so great that I wish I could live in future, not in the present, but unfortunately we have what we have. Okay, now it's turn to my main lead code competitor, Valery, to show his usage of algorithm and data structures in Roadrunner. Valery, please share your updates.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Alexander. Unfortunately, no one will see my face during my presentation because, yeah, you know, I'm the host of this conference and I can share myself during the sharing my screen. So, okay, fine. Today we are going to release our minor version of the Roadrunner, version 2.12. And let's take a look what will be new in this release. So first of all, it's very bold font here. It's like we are going to remove our WebSocket and broadcast plugin. So we actually removed it. them, and we replaced them by the new centrifuge plugin. So this plugin will allow you to use a broad variety of like clients, Dart, Golang, JavaScript, so on, TypeScript, and so on, and instead of our like unsupported JavaScript client. So we are like open to feedback, so feel free to use it. It's already bundled in the version 2.12. Also, as you may see on the GitHub, all our plugins, SDK and API were updated to version 3. So it was done because it was like some internal changes, but there are nothing like regarding to the users. I mean, there's nothing like breaking for you, our like users. So let's have a look at the updates per plugins. First plugin is the RPC plugin which got update. We are introducing a new IPA. It's like RPC version and RPC configuration. So now you may request a version and configuration in the JSON format from the Roadrunner. And Bird actually did it already. So as you may see here, you may see a version, it's like a release candidate, and server configuration in JSON format, but Pavel, our best PHP developer, like also added an YAML configuration parser. Okay, let's move to the next plugin. So services plugin, I will just remember that services plugin, it's kind of similar to systemd. So allows you to start, stop, terminate processes, like you may provide commands on the fly, like to run some ls, for example, or npm run dev, or any event you wanted to like start during the runtime, inside the runtime. And the services plugin got an update in their API. It got a new method called statuses. So this method allows you to receive all statuses per process. For example, as you may see on this screenshot, you may run, for example, one process of front end, 3 processes of snapshots, and so on and so on. But in previous version, like this API called server.status, you may see only one process, like only one main process aggregated with other childs, its childs. But now you can see with the new method everything per process and per child. So here you may see, for example, centrifuge running inside the service, but you may see that the 2 services actually got some error, but the third one is like healthy and running okay. Okay, and we also added a new method to the configuration. It's called service name in log to distinguish between between different logs of services. For example, if you might have like centrifuge, Victoria metrics, snapshots, though they all mixed with each other inside the logs. But now you may add this option and set it to true, and you may see everything like related to like front end, snapshots. You may even filter this, and so on and so on. Next plugin which got updated is metrics plugin. So it's like small but very important update. You may now unregister the previously added collector. What does it mean? So previously you may dynamically add some metrics, like add to this metrics, observe this metrics, but you haven't, you didn't have an ability to remove this collector when you actually like don't need it. Now you have this ability with unregistered method, which receives only the string. It's like name of the service, and it will remove all the data associated with the collector. So next plugin is AMQP plugin. It got some like default options added to it, like you may now control the exchange, how to delete the exchange, and how to delete the queue. Like via the standard options, IMQP options. So here, IMQP, we always, I guess this is a little bit wrong name for this plugin, because IMQP actually is a protocol like IMQP 09. But here we means it's this all of the stuff related to the RabbitMQ as like main implementation of this protocol. Okay, we also added some new things to the Go SDK. It's called reset timeout. So previously it was hard-coded into the Roadrunner. It was like 1 minute to reset the plugin. For example, if you called Roadrunner reset HTTP, for example, if you wanted to reset the HTTP plugin. So now you can control it, and for example, if you wanted to force the reset, you can use, for example, 1 second, and Roadrunner will kill everything, like nuke everything it see related to the HTTP plugin. Yeah. So the next plugin is Centrifugal plugin, which I mentioned earlier. We have a new configuration section related to it. We also have an PHP library already released by our God developer Pavel. But okay, let's click on this link. Let's see. Yeah, 9 days ago, and here you may see a README and read how to use this library. And actually, so you don't need to like install Centrifuge to like a big binary download somewhere. So it's like 10 megabytes binary or via the Docker, and you can control a particular everything which goes through the Centrifuge. But it will, like Anton, it will say about this later. You can also use TLS as usual to connect to the Centrifuge cluster, so feel free to use it and give us feedback. And the last but not least, it's like lobby of our CTO Anton. It's Upplogger plugin, because this is like for the it's a little bit hard for the Golang developer to understand what a PHP community needs, but Anton helps with that, and now you have this plugin bundled into the Roadrunner, which can do the following. You can now, like after 2 years, I guess, of waiting, you can now push a message and it will be printed by under the Roadrunner log levels. Like you can push as an info method, debug method, error, and warning, and you can push it directly from your application via RPC, and Roadrunner will show these messages under its like log severity levels. And also for those of you who like want to see like a particularly raw output, there is a method called log, which just prints to the Roadrunner stdr the raw message. So no addition like timestamps, anything related to the plugin which runs this log. So only your message goes straight forward to the stdr. So you may use integrations, some like monologue, and collect this log via some local daemon, so like you usually do. So let's also see it's already released. Okay, fine. And we have like some important fixes. First of all, related to the headers middleware. So that was like an issue with the header sizes, and very important fix related to the gRPC plugin. So previously you like won't pull the message, the image from the buff repository, instead because of some error happened on the Roadrunner side. But now this error is fixed, and you may use like gRPC plugin with buff integration. And when to wait our 2.12 release. So this is first time we like combining our conference, like small conference and release. And so let's let's release it online actually. So as you can see here, I just prepared this release notes. We have a new tag, so it's all experimental, and we are setting this as the last release, and let's do it. Whew, fine. So, and let's check it. Yeah, we can see this now. You can use it actually on the conference. You can give us feedback. Thank you very much to our awesome contributors. They are here. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, community, for the tickets, for everything you are doing to make our Roadrunner better. Yeah, I guess that's it for my side. The floor is yours, Alexander.
Thanks for updates, Valery. Every time I listen to your updates about Roadrunner things, I have a strange feeling that one day we will end having Roadrunner not an application server, but the PHP-specific operation system. But it will be somewhere in the future. And in the meanwhile, while our listeners are downloading the new release, let's listen to JD, and he will share the PHP-related updates. JD?
Hi guys, let me actually share my screen as well. So give me just a second. Let me know when you can see it.
Yep.
Okay. Hi everyone. So I think the first thing you can notice is that the current team, which is maintaining the framework and all the related ecosystem components, is fairly large right now. We have 6 full-time members doing all of our components. Hopefully that gives you some confidence about the longevity of the instruments. And now let's jump to the 3.3 release of the Spiral framework. Before I'm going to jump to details, I want to mention that our release cycles are always kind of focused into somewhere. So we're going to do in 3.3, 3.4, 3.12, and etc. And we're going to be adding more features in the upcoming releases. Hopefully without breaking anything while doing that. So here we go. We have a number of new features being released, and some of them I'm going to give you a broad description, some of them going to be highlighted in a bit more information. So one of the biggest things we added is an open telemetry support. I'm going to give a bit better explanation about it on the next slide. As Valery mentioned, since Roadrunner has deep integration with Centrifuge, we also have this integration being added to the framework and all the bridges. Again, I'm going to highlight it. We have support for the logger plugin, so you now can have a monologue bridge which is going to publish messages directly to a Roadrunner log. That's very important feature if you want to see your logs being formatted properly and added some nice looking colors, which not everyone likes. We also have a new areas where we add in interceptors. So if you guys not familiar what interceptors are, that's an aspect-oriented kind of programming approach which we use across the framework. So they allow you to create a very rich domain layers and basically write your code moving some of the common logic outside of your code. So we now have this ability added for the gRPC and for the event bus. So you now can, let's say, can intercept every time when user being updated and handle this event within the interceptor, which will publish this event to Centrifuge channel, something like that. We now have improvements for the container exceptions. If someone used our container before, if you use framework, you did use our container. When your dependency hasn't been properly resolved for you, it was sometimes pretty hard to find what actually happened, like why this dependency and where this dependency haven't been provided to you. Now we're giving you much more context, like where the auto wiring was called, and basically the whole tree of the invocations for the container. We have a number of improvements for the temporal bridge with the framework. You now can register your own custom type data converters. That's pretty much it. And we have a few updates related to the cycle. Specifically, you now can render your schema in a mermaid format, and you previously been able to preview your schema in a CLI in your terminal. And you now can add your vendor directories to provide migrations for you as well. So let's probably walk through some of these features in a bit more details. So number one, OpenTelemetry. If you guys are familiar with this concept, that's essentially an open protocol which is used by many different tracing and login applications like Datadog, New Relic. I'll probably guess a few more, but this is a format which allows you to trace the request lifecycle between different microservices inside your application. So essentially, we have a demo application demonstrating like different feature sets of the framework. And when you're going to be doing requests to that, it is going to properly trace the request from application to underlying gRPC service to queue provider, from queue provider to another service, and so on and so on and so on. Right now, the only component which is not fully covered with tracing is temporal, but that's coming as well. So this tool can be useful for you to get visualizations like that. And it's important to note that if you build in something more complex than a simple block, these visualizations are going to be very important to understand how your services and queues, how basically everything is being connected. So it's not just like profiling a single function in your application. Next component integration we have is a centrifuge, and I can probably say that we most likely provide one of the best integrations with centrifuge on the market. Previously, we had our own WebSocket component, which allowed you to publish messages in real time. With current centrifuge integrations, you can do way more. I mean, first of all, if you guys don't know what's a centrifuge, that's managed application. Well, you can install it in your system as a microservice or cluster, which allows you to handle up to like few or dozen millions of WebSocket connections and orchestrate them in real time. So it's very mature solution to add real-time work for your application, and you actually can use it like in a very small applications as well. So in our case, we provided two different API sets. One of them has the client-oriented API, so essentially making channels, publishing to channels, and kind of classic work. And the second one is way more interesting. That's a bidirectional communication with centrifuge server through Roadrunner. So you're going to have your own worker pool for the centrifuge-related workers. This means that you can actually handle outcoming and incoming events from centrifuge. You can automatically authorize users, kick them off, move them from channel to channel, and you can react to the incoming messages. So if you want to build, let's say, a real-time application with chat or something which requires input from the user, that's a way to go. So we're very proud about this integration. Next one is Roadrunner Logger. Well, I mean, for Valery, just a simple picture. For us, from the PHP side, there's a full-fledged integration to Monolog. So what we have, as Valery mentioned, two ways to work with that. You can publish messages directly unformatted, or you can do it through the default PSR3 compatible loggers. We're going to automatically map the log levels, and we're going to automatically give them the correct labels, colors, and etc. You probably won't use this feature or like much in production. I mean, who knows? Maybe you do, but it's very nice when you can finally start seeing logs from application like formatted well with all the rest of the Roadrunner messages. Because previously all the PHP logs was kind of like a white crown inside the Roadrunner logs. Mermaid rendering for the cycle ORM. So if you guys don't know what Mermaid rendering, that's one of the many options to render different graphs and charts. In our integrations, we already provided the way to preview your ORM schema in terminal. You just see what methods, what objects you have, how they're connected. But now you can also render that in a format which is documentation friendly. So you can literally inject that to the Markdown, to GitHub, or any of your documentation. Could be very useful if you're managing applications with a large set of objects and relationships between them. So as you can see, it shows everything from like belongs to, has one, has many, how it's been connected, what types it has, and so on and so on. And we also want to announce, which I think we previously announced, but maybe a bit more formal announcement, one of the new tool which is being added to our toolkit. This tool is currently in a beta state, maybe even alpha, but we will be continuing to evolve it. So this tool called BirdDog, and the BirdDog is a tool which used to monitor and manage Roadrunner instances within your application. So let's take a look at that. So first of all, is it first slide? Yeah, it's first slide. First of all, it will allow you to see the Roadrunner version. Well, if if you don't know it already, but most importantly, it will allow you to see the state of all of your workers, everything from their CPU consumption, how much work they've been doing, when they've been created, memory consumption, and so on and so on. And even if you want, you can actually reset them manually. So if for some reason you want to demonstrate that your application works in a status mode, just hit restart and it's going to be working. You also can preview the Roadrunner configuration through the BirdDog. So if you don't want to jump to the YAML file, you can do it there. By the way, BirdDog can be installed in the simple Docker container. You can connect it to the Roadrunner fairly easily. We have information in documentation how to do that. You're also able to now manage your queue pipelines. So initially, just to give you a quick heads up, we got inspired by Laravel Horizon, and I think we're going to surpass it in terms of functionality. So right now you can see the list of pipelines. You can stop, pause, and manage them as you wish. We will show you the real-time statistics about each of the pipeline, how they work, what they consume, where they stuck, and etc. But for right now, you can just see them in this format. You can also see the content of the service plugin. So if someone skipped what the service plugin is, it essentially our own implementation of systemd, or kind of replacement for the supervisor application, which is probably well known in PHP world. You can manage underlying services inside the Roadrunner. So for example, if you don't want to set up Centrifuge as a separate port or service, you can just launch it under Roadrunner, and it's going to do the supervising and management for you. Same stuff, you can see the processes you have, and you can restart them, you can stop them, anything you wish. And the last few things. So number one, BirdDog can work with multiple Roadrunner instances. So that's fairly important if you build an application with multiple services, which communicate over queue or gRPC, etc. But we also have the ability to visualize every metric which is being published by the Roadrunner. So this touches every default metric. You can see the consumption of any of your worker pool. You can see the latency of your HTTP request. Basically, we published like 100 of different metrics, maybe even more, just out of the box for your Roadrunner behavior. But if you want, you can also publish your custom metrics, and you can visualize them here as well. So this tool can be used to essentially observe how your application behaves, how much memory it consumes, and basically where the bottleneck could be. Going forward, we will be adding more and more functionality to BirdDog, so stay in touch. And I think that's it for right now. I think this has been a fairly successful release. We have a number of new interesting features and evolution of the features, and we have a new tool for you. Thank you for the watching, and thank you for joining the ecosystem.
Thanks, GD. And looks like that's it for today. I don't see that many questions in the chat. Actually, I can ask you because the only one is asked by Pavel, and we can answer him tomorrow on the daily. So I think we can finish the stream. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and push the like button. What is more important, don't forget to leave us stars on GitHub, because we're engineers. That's the only thing that makes us happy. And thank you. See you on the next stream.
Bye bye, guys.
Thank you, guys.